So what I'm going to do as we're going through this, as I say, it's an educational tool more than anything else. So as we specify options in the tool, I'll keep referencing back to the complete XML that it creates, just so we can kind of see what impact that has had. So first and foremost, when we're creating this XML, is to do with the creation and specification of these parts. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a part to begin with. As you see, that gives us a load more options, which is showing you the kind of information and specification that you can include in those parts. So the first thing we want to do is a name. So let's continue with our brochure example. We'll go for a front cover. Next down, we have a part type. So I'll get onto the other option in here later, but what this essentially allows us to do is either use an uploadable part, so what we've seen so far where a user can upload a PDF, but you've also got the ability to reference a static product that you've got elsewhere on your Infigo platform. So let's say, for example, you're trying to create a new output product, but where the first page is always static. So regardless of what the user uploads, there's always a first page which is always there and it's completely static. You can have it so that one of these parts in the MultiPart just pulls from one of your other static PDF products within Infigo. So very useful. And we've got that in some of the examples that we'll demonstrate. But we'll get onto that static one later on. First of all, I want to specify this upload area. So let's look at some of the options that we can put in there. We can put the page number range. So how many pages do we want to allow that customer to upload? So for our front cover, for example, it might just be one page or nothing. We've got no sort of variation in that. These check and fix profiles are to do with the pit stop profiles. I'll come back to those in a second, I promise. And then further down, we have the UI name and UI description. These are just descriptions that will appear as part of that box for that particular section. Zoom in slightly in case you need to see that. And then finally on here, we have the specification of how many upload areas the user can utilize. So what I mean by this, and I can show it on one of my examples again. So we've got our internal content here, for example, on our brochure. Now, in most cases, it might be that that internal content that people upload is all in one PDF. It's fantastic, that's great. But what if they've got multiple PDFs? What if there's 3 different PDFs that contain the internal content? That option I was just pointing out allows you to put multiple different upload sections within the same part. So you don't have to specify loads of different parts. So for example, if some people uploaded the internals as 1 PDF, some people uploaded it as 6 PDFs. We want to give them that option. And this is the option we have here. So you see at the moment, I've got 1 internal content upload. I can very easily add a second into the same part. So now both of those could be combined into the same PDF. And that is this section here. So this upload count type. So we can either specify it as a range. So for example, for our front cover that we're specifying now, the range of minimum is going to be 1 and maximum is going to be 1 because we only want 1 page. It's only going to be 1 upload. We can change the ranges, or if we want to give people free specification of how many upload areas to have in that particular part, we can change that to at least 1. How that actually affects our resulting XML. So you can see how a lot of that information has been fed in. And again, this is just to help your understanding of how this is actually constructed. So we look inside the parts section there. We've got some initial configuration for that particular part. So it's user upload. We've given it a name. We've given it a minimum and maximum page numbers. And we've got profiles, but at present, they are empty. We've then got the input items, which is including things like how many upload areas we have and the names that we've specified. And then we have the order, which in this case has only got one item in it. So hopefully you can see how that's being created. Let's copy that and take that over to our product. And have a look at the end result. So I'm just going to paste our updated XML config into here, and then I'll just refresh my product and restart. So you can see there, we've now got our front cover and one upload area that we can utilize. Now, before I forget, you'll see here that I've got a PDF file upload size limit. Now, I think by default, that's quite low. It's something like 5 megabytes. So you might need to change this for some of the products that you create. This is done, if I remember correctly, as part of the Infigo settings that we saw earlier on. So if I search in there for maybe MultiPart again, you can see there we've got an option for MultiPart upload max file size in bytes. So you can change that to whatever value you want. It will be storefront wide. It is a storefront wide value for here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I'll now talk about our pit stop profiles a little bit. So, very good question earlier on, Daryl. So we've got a couple of different areas that you can specify these pit stop profiles. So for anyone that doesn't know what the pit stop profiles are, it's a way of pre-flighting any artwork that's given to you. So it's not something that's created by Infigo. We just integrate with Enfocus Pit Stop. So you can get an integration which allows you to use their pit stop profiles in your Infigo storefront on your products. And what it means is that as the user uploads files to the Infigo storefront, those files are run through a check. And this check can be a multitude of different things: how many pages it is, what size it is, what color formatting it is, and much, much more. And it allows you to make sure that what they're uploading is actually in the correct format. Now, you can do them as a check profile. So this is, as the name suggests, it's just where a check and a report is being created. We won't actually do any physical changes to the file that they upload, but it will give them information on if they need to change anything. You've then got the ability to import a fix profile. So again, as the name suggests, that if you want to do some automatic fixes on files that are uploaded, if it's required. And then you've got output profiles as well. And as I mentioned earlier on, that's where you can actually specify something that runs on the output file that's being created. Now, in terms of a MultiPart product, there is the two areas where they can be specified. So if you want to use an output PDF profile, which, as I mentioned, operates after the output has been created, that is specified on here. And I'll show you where to create that in a moment. If you want to do a check or a fix profile, or both, those are specified within the XML itself. So either within the tool, if you want to utilize it this way. So as part of your part specification, you've got check and fix profiles, or you can put it directly into the XML under these sections here. So they will be there by default. They're just left empty. But all you need to do is put the name of your profile within here, and then it will utilize that. In terms of where you actually upload your pit stop profiles into Infigo, it's really, really easy. If you just go to your search bar in your Infigo area, admin area, search PDF profile setup, I think is the page you want. And then all you're doing is uploading the profiles into here. Now, as I mentioned, the profiles themselves are created externally to Infigo. It's not our software that creates those. But once you've got that PPP file, which is the pit stop profile, you can just import it into here. Now, I won't go into too much detail on the creation of these, as it's sort of veering away from the topic a little bit. But there is additional resources on the Academy as to how you can upload your profiles and apply them to different product types, because you can get them to run on Mega Edit products as well. But just for our example cases, to show you how these actually work, what I've got in here is a CMYK check and a CMYK fix. So these are just really simple profiles. One of them is checking that the color format is in CMYK, and one of them is fixing it. So if it's not in CMYK, then it will change it to be so. And what I'm going to do as our example is just get these to run on our particular upload system. So I can do this as part of our tool here. So I'm just going to exactly put those names of the profiles in. So CMYK check and CMYK fix. So you can see those have now been populated, and I'll save that. Now, something to know, which is in the other documentation if you look at it, if you're using both a check and a fix profile, then this is the way you should do it. So your check one goes under the check heading, of course, and then the fix one goes under the fix heading. You have got the option to just use one or the other of those as well. So you can just run a fix if you want and not a check. If you do that, maybe someone a bit confusingly, it doesn't go within the fix profile. Think of these more as a step one and a step two. So if you're only running the fix profile, you'd put the name of the fix profile in here because you don't want to utilize the check. I hope that makes sense.